Well, hello, my lovelies. It is time for an after full moon video and reading. I am holding these cards for a glorious reason. It's because we do a confirmation for the topic and just to kind of confirm energy as well. So, if you want to skip ahead, you don't feel called for this reading, just skip like 2 or 3 minutes. But anyway, let's dive right into the topic, which is how to not block your abundance, your blessings, because that can happen, girl. And boy, it's totally possible, but we're going to shift our mindset so that does not happen and we do not psych ourselves out because things can get really strange, especially during a transition period like a full moon or a new moon. So, to start us off, we have the Despair and Cruelty card. I know, it's very scary. Trust me, the Nine of Swords, there's going to be some people who want to block your manifestations, especially if people are just generally jealous, envious of you and your successes. That type of energy can rub off on you, especially directly, but also non connect, like you don't have to notice these people like shifting this or projecting this energy towards you, but it can still happen. Just having their aura, if you don't like protect yourself or you're very like keen on wearing crystals and especially obsidian or black tourmaline, you want to make sure that you're aware of other people's energy and what they try to put towards you, so you can always use protection spells or just generally protect yourself by using affirmations and knowing that that's not your energy. But yeah, we go through a lot of despair and cruelty, especially the tower card. If we have like a tower card pulled, it can be really chaotic or feel chaotic, especially during a full moon or a new moon when intuition and emotions are really heightened. But it's really important to understand that we go through changes in the universe. There's this thing called a cycle of life. I know it's scary, but we really do. Like, we have life, we have death, we have despair, we have love, we have gratitude, we have all kinds of emotions to go through and experience, and sometimes it's hard to balance that stuff out. Like, let's be real, it's chaotic within our own world, and then we have the rest of the world to deal with too. I don't want to deal with that bullshit. But you know what I mean? Like, it's okay to feel off. It's okay to feel that things are not going out in your favor, but you really don't want to psych yourself out and stay in that stagnant zone or that just despair and cruelty zone. And make sure that you're realizing that the things are coming for you. But it just takes time for the universe to shift things towards you. But okay, so the next card that we got is again the Prince of Swords. So it's about making better judgment, making better calls for your situation. So you're not making choices based off of impulse. This is definitely an impulse card. You can get into fights, arguments, and just things that are a waste of time. Your time is valuable. If you want your manifestations to come in faster, you need to put some time and effort into your things, your work, your crafts, your music, whatever it is. Like, you have to focus yourself on yourself and not other people and what they want to bring to the table, because sometimes people are distracting. Some people have ulterior motives, so be aware of that, and make sure that you're prioritizing yourself and also making contacts. Like, don't let people like psych you out and where you are blocking people who could actually be blessing you with help or financial security or just want to invest in you. Like, don't block that sort of thing by just like assuming everyone's out to get you. Like, you don't want to do that either. It's always going to be about balance, babe. But again, use your better judgment for these type of situations, this type of energy. Use your intuition because you're going to be tested and your intuition will be right. So just make sure that, if you make a decision based off of fear or emotions, those usually will be like will usually be a bad call. Not always. Sometimes it is okay to feel off. Like, it's going to be strange to understand. It's hard to explain, especially like you will feel off by somebody's energy if they have negative and intentions towards you, like you will understand that energy when you actually feel it. Like it's beyond the chills. You feel anxious, anxiety, and just overwhelmed or overstimulated, especially by their existence. So just be aware of that type of thing, but also realize again that justice is being served. So accept that justice, do not block that justice, and make sure that you're very thankful for the things that are happening in your favor, because it is especially important to have gratitude for your blessings, not because the universe needs to hear it, because it needs to know that you are thankful, you are happy, and you know that you deserve love more than anything in the world, because that is going to shift your perspective. It's going to shift your dynamic, your entire dynamic, and make sure that you have a positive influence on the world around you when you're dealing with energy. Because being a spiritual worker, especially, like if you're a witch, if you're a shaman, whatever it is, like a warlock, like you have to have a positive impact on the community around you. And I'll tell you why: because it is our job, it is also our duty to be here, but that is what's actually going to bring you purpose in life. And it's not okay. And you should go watch my last video about, not being in a certain type of energy. I can't remember exactly what the title was, but you can't have goodness if you're not creating goodness for other people. But it's also not your job, your divine feminine, there we go, it was the divine feminine shadow, it is not your job to heal other people, especially if you're not receiving some financial contribution for your work. So understand that, like, if somebody's being toxic, especially, like, that you're not feeding into that energy, and you're just kind of like, you're still there for them, but you're not allowing it to affect you. Because especially in this healing process, this healing journey, we can get set up with people who have very deep shadow wounds, very deep child trauma, and it's very important that you go in with kind of like a zeroed perspective, where you are there for somebody, but you're not going to use bias or some hidden agenda to kind of alter their reality, because they need to be validated firstly. And to each has their own experience, but you can't go in with the psyche that you have this ultimate perspective for them and that you're going to fix all of their problems, because that's just not how it works out. And usually, like, the mirror effect is going to block that type of understanding anyway, because you have individual perspectives. They were there, you were not. You may have a similar experience, but it's not going to communicate very well, and you can learn that from experience. But it is forewarning, it's not worth it. So understand that you have to go in with just kind of like this unconditional love for somebody, and just know that you have this purpose to be there for them, but it's not your purpose to just like do all of the work. All of the work is going to be put on them, but it is your job to kind of give them instructions and detail on how to go through this process. So the healing journey is very complicated, let's be real. So just understand that, it's your job and duty to be there for people, but it's not your expectation to do all of the handiwork. That is never going to be your expectation. It may have some temporary solutions for them, but it's not going to be anything long term, and you got to really understand and respect that, because you know we're here to actually heal people, and not just kind of have some agenda to receive profit for things that we're not actually doing and being a part of. So be there for somebody, but also, like, don't be their back and bone. Don't be their foundation. Let them be the foundation and lay out the groundwork. Or maybe you should be the foundation. I told you I'm so bad with analogies, but be the foundation and let them do all the groundwork. Maybe that will make more sense, because you're giving them instructions and teaching them how to do things. Maybe I should just stop. But you know what I mean? Like, you have to set things up for people, but let them do everything else, so they can actually learn, because we're here. It's a school. We got to learn these things on our own, and it's never going to sink in if somebody tells us and does all the work for us. So, yeah, put that type of perspective in. If you were at school and everyone was telling you how to do all the work, and you were just kind of cheating and going off of a cheat sheet, did you really soak any of that in, babe? Don't lie to me. You didn't. So go in with that sort of perspective on things, and one, less energy will be affecting you, especially if they're negative, if they're like negative, super pessimistic, if there's a lot of shadow healing that they need to do. Teach them how to receive abundance more than anything, and that will help shift their perspective. So allowing them to understand what gratitude really truly means, and allowing them to expect and receive abundance, because a negative attitude is really deeply rooted into childhood trauma, especially like our parent wounds, our our inner yearning for like love and acceptance. It really stimulates back to like self-love, because we have to love ourselves, and we have to understand that we are capable of creating nice foundation for ourselves, and receiving and reciprocating that type of energy. So it's very important to go in with that type of like perspective, the zero perspective again. So yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be rough, especially if you're just starting out with this healing journey. But this will allow you to also, and I mentioned the healing process because we're here to teach people and heal people, but it's a part of our abundance in learning is going in with that sort of perspective, because then that allows us to receive abundance. They actually get the work done, and then they can see the value of the things that you were providing for them, as far as spiritual work, spiritual healing, Reiki, whatever it is. They can actually see the benefit, and you have to go in with that sort of perspective if they're going to understand it better. Because if you put all these barriers of energy where they're not understanding, like deep understanding, then there's just not going to be, it's not going to make a strong connection with them in the spirituality realm. So like learn to communicate this stuff in simpler terms, but also where they can actually see what's happening for them. And it's going to take some work, it's going to take some practice, but you got this. And with that, shifting perspectives is very difficult for a very pessimistic person, but you have to explain this to them over and over again, and to yourself if you're just watching this for yourself and not necessarily a spiritual worker. Like, you have to understand that it takes a specific mindset and releasing old patterns and old toxic traits in order to actually receive, but also see those receivings. Because if you're just pessimistic and you just believe everything is coincidence, yeah, that's cool, but eventually you're going to lose a lot of that value and that love for what's actually happening in the process behind the wheel, or the back curtain. Like, it's very hard to see things if you're not grateful for what's actually happening. If you're not here in this world, you're out there somewhere else, constantly distracting yourself with like your phone technology, or just other people and what everyone else is doing. So you won't see what's happening right in front of you. And this can be communicated through other things too, like family, social life. If you're not here in the present moment, then you're going to lose value for the things around you. And it's basically life is going to pass you by because you didn't have any gratitude for what was actually happening for you. And abundance, it doesn't just equivalent to money. We have to, like, there are people who have so much money in the world and are unhappy because they didn't go through this spiritual growth and this spiritual process and understand like true gratitude and the things that they should be happy for. So they turn to substance abuse, they turn to negative attitudes towards other people, especially their followers, which is crazy to me. But people lose their minds because they're just not seeing, they're not present, and they're not feeling and validating what's going on around them. And I'm not going to be a positive optimist for you, and a toxic optimist to you, but it's at the same time you really have to understand that things work out in the background. I've said this so many times, but they work out in the background for you. So you have to be there and be aware of when they actually do happen, because then you're going to actually see things going and shifting towards your favor, and you'll be much happier that way. And maybe even journal your experience, because that will allow you to understand and remember things. Because, like, okay, how often do we forget things like a week or 2 weeks ago? Like, very often. So journal things down, write your accomplishments down. I have this intention journal, and it's very beautiful. I got this from Lunarly. If you have not watched any of my Lunarly unboxing videos, I haven't gotten them in quite a few, uh and I think in a couple months, but there's some older videos for you to watch, but it basically lays things out for you. I know I spilled coffee on it. I'm sorry. That's probably gross to show you, but like, you go through, it tells you the moon cycles and stuff, and you can use any type of journal. You don't have to have this like laid out, but it is nice. It is a nice format. I am working on building some journals for y'all as well, but this will allow you to follow moon cycles, keep you uh accountable for writing things down, because it isn't every single day. Keep in mind, it's not every single day. See how it goes from the 5 to the 9? These are the third quarter, or sorry, I can't read, the first quarter moon, and then it goes to the full moon. So it goes through the moon cycles and basically lays out as what are you grateful for, what do you want to start bringing into your life, and then what steps you're going to take to actually make that process happen for you. So I definitely recommend journaling, because again, our minds are not always present. And so it's very important to like make sure that you're aware of your accomplishments, or even have a whiteboard. I don't know why I'm pointing that way because you can't see it, but I have a whiteboard on my wall to kind of remind myself of daily things like drinking enough water, because that's very important. Drink your water, babe. And it's just very essential to see these things on a daily basis, because if you don't, it's easy to forget. And if you forget, then like, what if somebody's negative attitude just kind of shifts you towards like this turmoil effect? And that's not always going to happen, but sometimes it does. Like, we let people, especially loved ones, like a partner, if you have a highly toxic partner, well, firstly, I recommend that you leave that situation entirely, but that's a whole other video and a whole other topic. Watch my karmic relationships video, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button while you're at it. But there's situationships that can happen and make you have like this rub off effect, or them have a rub off effect on you. So like, you start seeing things in a whole different perspective based off of their perspective, because they are like either a narcissist or just very toxically pessimistic, and they do not believe in anything that you are saying and validating. So you can start doubting yourself, or start doubting your reality, and they will like gaslight you. There's so many different things that could happen. So make sure that you're being aware of your own energy and other people's toxic energy, and that you separate these two, especially if you are a spiritual worker, because you're going to be dealing with a lot of these people, a lot of narcissists. If you're a dark empath, you're going to attract a lot of those types. So just understand that and let it happen, because it's going to provide you with financial opportunities. And again, we're not here to like bank off of somebody's negative habits, their negative perspectives, or just their negative attitude at the same time too. So don't take advantage of that. That is my greatest advice, because it's not going. It may create some temporary solutions for you, but it's not going to be long term. If you really want some accountability, if you want some good reviews, and if you want some people actually seeing the effort and the value that you put towards this work, then you're going to want to actually be honest about what you do. So that's just, a side note, but being this opportunist will allow you to start receiving blessings, but also allow you to see the blessings in front of you while they happen, and know that it's coming for you. It is it's 333, by the way. So just be aware of this. Be like, your awareness, I really can't communicate it enough. It is so essential to actually have some growth, and to see your growth. And what is more beautiful than your own individual growth? I'll give you a hint, it's nothing. There's nothing more beautiful than it. And, well, maybe a few other things, but pizza's pretty great. It's just about actually experiencing things and being able to understand and communicate that back to yourself. So you have an understanding of one, how the cycles work and how this energy attracts towards you. And like blocking your abundance can be really easy if you allow things in the outside world to affect you. So be aware. And yeah, like create a zen space, create an organized space, and allow yourself to come back to ideas. Like again, write things down. Even if you don't have like the financial capabilities, or you don't have the tools, the resources, write it down, because it's probably a great idea, and you can always come back to these things when you are feeling stagnant, stuck, or just like non-creative. Maybe like there was like a bunch of family visiting, and so you just kind of got off course or off balance. This type of stuff will allow you to go back into your habits, your work and lifestyle efforts so much faster too when you start writing things down and allowing yourself to come back to stuff, because you have like this book of ideas. And it's like, it's you can have stagnant periods. You can be non-creative sometimes. Sometimes you just need a break. And if you want it to click, maybe it can just click. Maybe you're really great at that type of, maybe you have that type of personality that's really great at just, I don't know what I'm doing, but maybe it just clicks for you and it comes right back to you. But it doesn't happen for everybody, and it's okay too, because not all of us work that way. So again, like, make sure you come back to your ideas too, because that can also, like, maybe this was meant to happen in the future and you're going to receive even more blessings by letting it kind of sit on your shelf for a little bit, and let the universe do some like little reviews and stuff and see all the things that you wanted to do and work on, and it's going to bring some type of financial stability in for you, so you can start working towards these dreams and goals and efforts. So I really hope today's message resonates. I'm going to cut it off here because I don't want to ramble for too much. I know I've been rambling for just a little bit, but it's just really great to reaffirm this type of stuff, this type of knowledge, and it just expectance of your abundance, because when we expect great things happen. And that is today's message. I love you. Please, please, please recharge your energy. That full moon, that blood moon, was pretty intense. And it was a little chaotic for a lot of people. We had to cut some ties. The universe cut some ties off for us too, because we weren't actually doing it. But it's okay, because sometimes we gotta let go of the old stuff so new things can happen. Love you. Bye.